Welcome to the Org Unity Media Podcast, or AUM Podcast, as I like to call it. We have a new special guest that you've seen with Jared, you've seen with Joe Corzo, but now we have our main man, Jason Mayol, the owner of Mateo Sports Nutrition Shop. And here he is, all in his get-up already.
Hey, that's me, man. You talking? This is my first interview. Is this on?
Is it on?
Is this how you do it?
No, it's not on.
Man, I was fascinated with all your cool toys. See, I don't even know. You have really cool stuff, Scotty, and I'm very impressed with all these gadgets. I mean, just watching you do all this, just like, that's a TV show of its own.
Mm-hmm. Hey, well, I learned from you when we were doing the live raffle shows. That's how I kind of broke into doing all the video recording to begin with.
Hey, I'm glad I could be part of your little journey to where you're at today.
So, I mean, let's give a little bit of background is that I've known Jason.
I'm going out of character now. So
he's starting to do the reveal.
Let's get serious. This is your show, not my show. Anyhow.
So our background is I've known Jason for a good part of the decade. I've known him since in my formative years as a teenager, as a young man. And through the years, we've clicked on and off depending on where I was living, you've always been here. I mean, you've been the staple of San Mateo for the very long time. And so we finally reconnected about 2 years ago. The first thing we reconnected it was with your live raffle show. And after that, time went on. And then we came back again. And now we are at the show. And through our conversations, we talked about how you have to have spontaneity with your content creation, as well as a systems mindset to make sure that you have your business running top notch so that you can attract the customers, survive during the hard times, as well as being on top of your business acumen and building those relationships. So I have to ask you, or actually give me a little bit of background about you, how this San Mateo Sports Nutrition started off in the first place.
You sound so good right now. And this is the first time I actually had one of these for a podcast. Yeah. I'm just amazed right now. I'm just like taking this all in. Oh gosh, what do I even start? I've been doing sports nutrition. Well, let me rewind. I got into this fitness industry back when I was 16. My first job, in fact, was working for a general nutrition center. That was my stomping ground. And I think that was the first initial taste of what supplements were. This was back in right after black and white TV. You were just like when you were born. This was like when I was 16. I'm 44. So I don't know. You do the math. I was back in 19.
Well, you started this at 16?
Yeah.
Back in the nutrition industry?
Yeah.
So when did you start working out?
Right around the same time. I was introduced to play, in sports, and the obvious routine most people get into working out is, they want to increase their sports performance, put on a little size. I was playing football. I was maybe a $130, 5'6", trying to, make something of myself. I was born and raised in a very predominantly highly athletic area, so my advantage was not my smarts anymore. So I knew I needed to kind of like raise my game as far as strength and power endurance. So I get in touch with the weights at around 16, 17, and then the changes, the immediate changes I started noticing right away. It was pretty immediate, and with that, come on, let's not lie. I mean, when you get the biceps and the chest going, you got the abs going, the attraction was there, the self-esteem. So after sports, fast forward, that's when I got the bite of supplements and working out, and that was the beginning of where I'm at now. And the journey in between, I don't think I've ever stepped out of this industry when it came to what I went to school to study for. My first job as a career was in sports nutrition when sports nutrition was not even a blimp on the map. I mean, I would have to say there was perhaps 3 or 4 major companies that were involved, and that was the world right there. Creatine was not even established. There was just protein powder. And the idea was, the cliche back then was, if it tastes bad, it must be good for you. So
yeah, I remember that.
Nothing was regulated. That. Everything was just like Wild West. Whatever you took,
I got to jump in real quick.
Yeah.
So all these sports nutrition, because the way I got into fitness, besides like looking at superheroes and looking at comics, my uncle had a bunch of fitness magazines. They still exist, even on this online age. Is that how you kind of also got the influence? Like, oh, did it sell you a little bit on their sports nutrition? Okay.
He-Man was my guy. He was my, like, you know, the great thing about the old school DC comics and the G.I. Joes and, you know, He-Man that was being played for the cartoons when you come home. Now, when you get that imprinted in your brain, and that was the iconic way of how a man should be.
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of like the way I wanted to, you know, see if I can become of that. My brother was a big influence and inspiration. He was also into working out, and he was collecting the Muscle and Fitness magazines. So that was the only magazine that was pretty much out. And then, you know, I'd fudge around, flip through the pages. I'm like, I could do that. I mean, you just work out, right? And take protein and just be consistent. And that was it. That was the bug. I mean, really, it was that easy. And the imagination just, you know, it came to fruition at that early stage, and I never looked back. Mm-hmm. And then everything after that, my decisions of what I wanted to become, what I wanted to do, what I decided to study in college was everything from those roots of me stepping into the gym for the first time. I remember the day when I touched a weight in the weight room. And it's vividly in my mind. And that's one of the things that stays with me. And I always look back and be like, you know.
Describe it for me.
So when I knew you had that when I knew that I had that fire, and I guess you can apply this to when you got that desire, passion, gift, and it's just kind of like humming with it, and it's like sizzling, and it's just, you know.
Kind of like
it's
like
simmering,
in metaphysics,
right?
we talk about the vibrations.
You kind of got that okay, what's going on here? So the moment when I touched iron, and it's kind of like this symbiotic kind of, when you understand, when you hear a clang of plates, and when you grip a bar, and it's you versus iron, and it's you just trying to just force things versus gravity, and you make those little accomplishments. You know, with that being said, I love the fact that the only challenge is you and weights. It's you versus you and nobody else. But if you really want to get your friends involved to get your egos and pride, yeah, we can add that. But the work that you put in will generally equal a result. And the results I was seeing pretty quick really was the gratifying moment. Okay, so the idea of putting in hard work, which can equal a result, that's kind of like the staple, kind of what I live by, you know. At that time, you know, the end result was just for performance in sports. But at the same time, it was building ultimately the confidence, self-esteem issues. So my spiritual side was growing, my mental side obviously was growing, and the physical side. So I didn't understand that back then, but when I look back at it now,
So let me jump in and ask you, since all the media that you watched, all the magazines that you read, you're absorbing all this information, you're seeing it in sports. Did that subconsciously affect you at a level where you started to be, this is the person I want to become. I want to have these attributes. I want to become superhuman in a sense that what you can put your mind to, your heart to, that you can get it done and you can see the results from it, literally, because it's physical fitness, right inside of a mirror. Do you think that affected you on a subconscious level?
Those are big words, Scotty. At that age, I didn't know what the hell that meant. But I guess if I had to look back at it, I kind of had the idea before the terms were involved.
Before the Instagram.
But I knew putting in hard work, you know, putting in what you put in with your work will result into the goal that you set. That's all I knew. That's all I was taught. It just like putting pen to paper, when you study hard, you get an end result, you get a good grade, you advance, right? Same thing with sports. So I was kind of tinkering with both and try to combine it together. Did I know the result? I had a short attention span at 16, 17 years old. I only knew football, basketball, and track, and girls, and then repeat, right? And so that was my world. And that was the ambition and motivation, right? I mean, let's face it, that's kind of like 18. We had a small world. This was before social media. So the only thing, social media.
A small world in what area did you grow up in?
My world. In my world. I wasn't the ambitious where I knew what I wanted to become in the big world picture. Well, today's world, I mean, you can just go on Google Maps and be like, I want to be this and that and this. But in my world, there was, the traditional, you want to be a teacher, police officer, fireman, doctor. All right. I mean, that was just, there isn't social media guru, entrepreneur wasn't crazy. Entrepreneur was just not even a thing. To go do unconventional jobs wasn't talked about. It was the conventional, be a teacher, be an educator. My parents, my dad is a professor. My mom was a nurse.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
Pretty clear cut. So from the beginning, I had good guidance. Don't get me wrong.
What kind of professor and what kind of nurse?
You know what? My dad, this is how naive I was. And I followed my father around. He was a professor. He taught botany. I don't know what the hell is botany.
It's growing the plants.
There you go. So no, it explains why he was in the garden the whole time. Microbiology was his thing. So, anybody that wants to study something that you can't see in the human eye, I don't know, but that's my dad. That was his gift. My mom she was a registered nurse. I mean, typical Filipino mom. I mean, no need to stereotype, but you know what I mean. But you know what? So I came from a background, from a family who knows how to give as far as their service, like to educate, right?
And nurture.
Nurture and care, right? So with that being said, in me, I wasn't intentionally trying to follow their, who they were, but it really molded me and guided me to the understanding where I'm at now, how I became the roots of the caring of people's, as far as helping and it just becomes so easy for me.
Second nature. Yeah.
It is. And they didn't have to explain it. I just had to witness it and watch.
So going back into the working out, because I'm seeing like a bunch of these connections here. Your mom was a nurse. Your dad was a professor, right? You were exposed to a bunch of media. You played sports. You got into nutrition. You got into physical fitness. So now it shows that your environment really shaped who you were without you even realizing it. And then you got into the environment of lifting up the weights. So how would you say the environment within the gym made you keep going back to the gym? Like,
Good
what
question.
about
it? If you really want to go deep into this conversation, knowing who you are, all right. Here's I never explain this, but this is what goes in my head. The symbolism of you working out, going through pain, understanding that the pain is in the pain that you're going to go through each and every time. It's like, I got to do this again the next day and I don't see a result. I mean, really? But that's how crazy we are, because we understand, knowing the work we put in, there's going to be a result, whether you're trying to lose weight or you're trying to build muscle. Okay. Now hold that thought. Without that being in business, or let's just say you're kind of in the process of a new business, and this is the reason why either businesses will flourish or business will fail. And then we're going to use the concept of pain again. So pain, in my opinion, is something that people either will run away from or they will embrace. You're going to sink or you're going to swim. And pain is just another calling for, hey, there's a problem. And I spoke to you this before, like, it's a signal. It's almost kind of like when the light goes on in your car, there's a problem, right? And you're not going to like take a hammer and bash it in, right? Like what you would paint. You're going to check it out. Well, check under the hood. Maybe the gas, cap is still open. You're going to check a look. So for me, when you're facing a situation, for example, when you're starting out in business, everything is just all up in the air. You're just going to throw stuff on the wall and see if it sticks. It can be painful. You can win people. You can lose people. You can win people. You can take people's advice. But the whole thing is embracing pain and making pain a working solution, meaning like, okay, there's a problem. The light's on. Let's fix it. Add another dimension. Meaning like whatever you're weak at as an entrepreneur, especially, you're trying to find out what you're really tinkering out. And if you can go beyond what you were learning, because sometimes you're never taught this. You're just kind of thrown out there and it's like, here you go. You are now a business, right? So I never had no formal education as an entrepreneur. Didn't really get much help from, let's say, the corporate world. I did this all on my own, just on pure grit and determination and work ethic. All right. But what I understand, pain again, is okay, I'm going to try this. Pretty painful. I failed. All right. Let's wipe it up. There's a solution, right? So when you have that pain feel, it can become a problem if you don't take care of it. So what I'm trying to get at is a pain or problem is just an opportunity, right, to figure it out and take that weakness and make it into a strength. So that's adding another dimension or another armor to who you are.
Or adding more muscle fiber.
Muscle fiber. There you go. Now you're following me. Okay. So the whole underlying theme is, the pain is just a signal, just saying like, okay, backtrack, figure it out, invest more time, pivot away, right? Figure it out. Once you figure it out, boom, add another layer. When you work out your pain, you understand that you're doing it for the sake of building muscle, period, and you know the end result. That's pretty common sense. Same thing with business. And this is every single day. Pain is something that's going to happen every single day. And I still feel it. And it will, let's take for COVID, for example, 2020. I'm seeing a lot of my, friends and small business owners, they're struggling. And not to say that I was fortunate enough to stay open, and that's, with God's grace, I'm an essential, blah, blah, blah. But many of the businesses that I consulted with, like, Jay, what can I do? I'm like, you know what? This is your time to kind of take your owner's manual or your operations protocols on what you were taught after all these times. This is the time to look yourself in the mirror and say, what can we do to kind of go the unconventional way and make it work? With that being said, either A, people will just be like too fearful and be, the too much pain. They're just going to just stay their own way. Nothing wrong with that. But you better have some prayers to go along with it. Because if you don't pivot, the next guy next to you in competition will figure it out and will take your business. Or if you're not looking at competition, it's just you not getting any customers and you'll just fail yourself. So this is kind of like if you had the investment to open a business and you hustled for the first 2-3 years to build it, and it's time to do it again under a different circumstance, like right now, why can't you do it again? You can reinvent yourself. With that being said, we all know this will pass. When? We don't know. But during this time, instead of frantically just panicking in pain, why not embrace the pain and be like, all right, let's step back. It's time to learn something new. All right. Like what I did, I use this time things slowed down for me. For example, it's like traffic slowed down. The whole world slowed down. So it gave me time to refocus and think. So what I did, I created a new website from scratch because I needed time. And this is the perfect opportunity time. I did things.
You invested in yourself.
I invested in myself.
Building that armor.
Right.
Adding more to it.
Right. So what I didn't let, I come from a different, like you and I, we're pretty much cut from the same cloth. We kind of think in the same way. When life presents itself, let's face it, life is never going to be fair, right?
Yeah.
It's what we do with it. So I'm like, all right, let's do something different. Instead of me getting fed what media wants me to feed, that mind control, whatever people call it. All right, well, I'm not going to wake up depressed and sad and and complain and have this negative vibe because we talked about this. Like the more and more you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, you're going to be waking up on the side of the bed for the rest of your life because this is the time where I took like, hey, all right, it's time to learn something new. Let's go back to school. And that was one thing I tell my friends. I like after college, the moment you stop learning is the moment you start dying. Okay, and you're not. You're not. Inside joke is like even when working out, even when you're 40, I'm 44. Because I work here, I kind of have to keep on it. But I'm saying like because you're 40 or 50 and whatever excuses you may have kids, you know what? It's like a house or an investment and you put it. You want to keep that property value up. Shouldn't be no excuse for you to let your only one time in your lifetime, let yourself go to crap. I mean, as far as like, keep doing what you were doing, as far as like working out, learning, investing in yourself spiritually, mentally, physically, whatever that may be until the day you die, because one life, right?
Because it deteriorates if you don't keep up with the renovations, if you don't keep up with the day-to-day daily task of your upkeep and maintenance. So it's like with your body. If you don't work out, you're going to start getting fat,
It's
out
your
of shape.
choice.
You might get higher blood pressure, might have some cholesterol problems, heart disease.
I ain't
You never
living
know. It goes down the chain of events, just like a house can start getting run down,
Absolutely.
collapsing. And then your mind, well, it shows that if you don't keep learning new things every day and keep challenging your mind, keep challenging yourself, you have a higher chance of getting Alzheimer's at the end of it. So you're basically telling us you have to invest in yourself.
You know what strikes me? What baffles me with my friends that are same age? I'm like, homeboy would be working on his car or restoring it for hours. A car, which will just transport him. Okay. But he won't invest 30 minutes of walking around the block or doing some exercise. I'm like, okay, what's a car going to do for you with your body if your heart isn't going to be beating, you won't be able to enjoy the car.
Appreciates value.
I mean, I'm like, come on, man. Like, all I say is, some people have this odd thinking, if I buy a new car, if I buy a new house, if I buy new clothes, will it change my outlook of life? But if you put the same driver in a new car, you're going to still get the same experience. So it's really not the car or the material things that make your life better. It's here you got to change, invest. That's what I'm saying. If you can just like take a couple much time investing in yourself, I promise you, just like working out with the pain, you're going to have less trouble getting out of bed. You're going to have more vitality. I mean, you name it. I mean, health is probably the number one thing that everyone
that's even mental health too.
Yeah, mental health. So it all trickles down.
It all trickles down. Spiritual health. Yeah.
Mental health, man. It's all about being happy. But if you're not physically or mentally, spiritually healthy, how can you enjoy the car 20 more years later? Because you're going to freaking, hit save. You might not be around by then. Right. So my thing, how I pivoted, and, I used to be, you and I, we used to work out a lot. That was our goal, be the biggest dude, right? But priorities, time changes us. We grow and our mindset changes. So my new set in fitness and industry, I just want to live to be 100 years old plus. I mean, it's far out there, but me benching 4 plates was far reach when I was 18. And that was the goal I set, and I did it.
So this is why I want to pull it back now.
Yeah.
Because I think you've hit the nail on the head, squarely on the head, because we're going to go right back into mindset.
Okay.
Because you first had to have the mindset to learn new things about nutrition. You had the mindset to feel confident enough to be like, I'm not going to be full of myself. I'm going to go there and work out. Who cares if I'm the smallest guy? I'm going to get those muscles. You went out and you started your own business. And during COVID-19, you've been survived. You're still pushing along, chugging along. So what is mindset to you? How is it so important? Why is it so important for people to have a good, strong mindset?
It's everything. Your body don't move if you don't have a good mindset. Yeah, that's bottom line. You're directly, whatever you say, whatever you feel, whatever you express, it all starts with one thing. It starts with the mind, right? But I don't know how deep you want to go into this. I can go, I can go as far as
take us there.
All right. Business. We'll just stick with business, I guess. Then we can correlate that.
Oh yeah. We will.
All right. Let's just talk about what I think about when I'm at work. All right, and never, you don't have to take what I take, but this is what helps me.
Yeah.
And it's let me backtrack. I've opened up since 2006 here. I have a business partner, and let me give him kudos, because a business partner, I always say, if you're going to start a business, having a good business partner, that's like
that's for 14 years already.
Plus, but I knew him before this, so but having a business partner can help leverage a lot of new things, which gives me the opportunity to have the time to do videos, which is another hour we can talk about. But what I think about, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. Like, when you go into something, and there was no schooling for this. It was just kind of thrown out there, and all you had to do, and all I had was the graces of God. Be like, hey, good luck. There you go.
Right to the lines.
But to the line. But here's what I didn't know. I know I'm not going to give up. It's just like going back to working out. I know once I set something to it, I'll be consistent. And that's really what you need to be. But during this time, you're understanding that the journey that you're going to be growing in business, you're going to be growing, you have to grow as a person, meaning like you have to figure things out. In the beginning, you figure things out like, you know, when people say you want to be the jack of all trades, master of none. Yeah, you kind of want to be jack of all trades and figure out what your strong specialties. Although you can do a lot of everything, the ones that you're passionate and you'll wake up to and you can do really well, and we'll make that extremely well, like God gifted well. So my thing, I'm the extrovert. I'm more the rah. I'll be on the camera. I'll be like, I'll talk to everybody, like I'll run for mayor. My business partner is like the introvert. He is like behind the scenes. We're like the yin and yang, hot and cold, whatever you call it. So he'll do the paperwork, he'll do the operations, stuff that I'm capable, but do I want to wake up and do it? No. So, but it works out. That's why a team, you know, like
complements each other.
So the great businesses that can put a team together in the departments where it's most needed typically will win. I always say whoever is in business who can hold their breath longest, right? Yeah. While they're growing each and every day, understanding that during this time you will grow from learning, but at the same time, start building out your operations manual. Meaning like your code of ethics, your values, morals, beliefs, whatever you call it, because principles, because these are your principles. So what I'm trying to express is there was a brand that I had. It was called Max Muscle Sports Nutrition. That was the brand, okay, which launched me. Nobody knew who I was, my business partner, which was fine because back in the marketing 80s and 90s, that's how businesses ran. You know, IBM, Xerox, okay, whatever they came out with, their commercials would say, this is what you need, buy it. And we fell for it. We buy it. The new Macintosh. Awesome. But now you fast forward 2020, everybody's a business owner. Why? Because the power of social media now can make people a business. Okay? Meaning like the big box stores are in big trouble because nobody's up. Big box. Okay. Big box businesses, they're in deep trouble because what's stealing the money grab in businesses are these little entrepreneur influencers. Great. I mean, that's the free world. I mean, we should be able to steal away from the big box. Now, big boxes will fail unless they can't pivot. So understand that it's no longer the big box that controls the influence. It's you and I. Now, if I make myself compelling enough to where I can influence you on wanting to buy or purchase my services or my product, I win. Now, the big question is, well, how do I start from amateur level to big boss man in business? Well, I always understand you have to have something worth of value to give to somebody. Because when you go on YouTube, for example, and you're searching for, let's say, supplements, and I'm in my industry and your protein powder, I'm competing against thousands and thousands over years and years and years. However, if you have something compelling, something engaging, something that's game changing to where it's like, you know what, let me check this guy's video out. Let me see what he has to say. I only got one chance, like Eminem. You only got one shot to make an impression, right? And if you practice over and over and over, understanding you're aware of what your strengths are and you just happen to understand how to magnify it and put it out there, you win. Now, this is something for all businesses. You are now under the control of, this is the bottom line. This is probably the most important, what I understood. You are not a business unless you're a marketer first. Period.
And how do we bridge those two ideas together?
Interesting. Well, media, right? Whoever, well, back in the, when I was growing up, well, I was told whoever controls the airwaves, the radio, TV, rules the world.
Yeah.
It's so true today. It's mind control. I see myself as my own TV station.
Yes, you definitely are.
Right?
Entertaining.
Okay. So I'm just trying to control what I can control. My TV show is going to be, well, let's back up to my values, morals, and beliefs, or my code of ethics. Well, let's just understand, I know myself to be engaging with customers with a little value of education in this sports nutrition world. So I'm a little, I can probably teach somebody a little something. But with that, remember, media controls. I only have one shot. And I had to understand and listen to myself. What makes me watch you? What makes me watch this Casey Neistat? What makes you watch Gary Vee? They all have something compelling, engaging. Well, I know how to do video. Not really good at the time, but I knew if I practiced at it, I could become just as good. So it's that work ethic. It's that pain. Hours, practice, like what you're doing right now. Okay. I like being, at the end of the day, when you think about the psychology of a business or, entrepreneurship, it's all about the end result of being happy. We all thought making a lot of money is going to make you happy. Well, that was my thought. No drama, calm brain with confidence. That's my end goal at the end of the day. Okay, so sorry. With that,
people walking by,
customer walking, saying hi. With that being said, happiness, like your happiness podcast, is an emotion that whether you're in a good state of today's what's going on, or something like the COVID, the temperature is really negative. People need an outlet. They need something to kind of release. I know I can put a chuckle or happiness, and that's my TV station. That's it.
Give me a little bit of that energetic boost to make them feel good about the day.
I am channel 1, 2, 3 on everybody's dial. If you want to go to channel 2, 3, 4, which is horror, that's you.
Yeah.
I'm just attracting people that
I'm
really good at, and I'll do it every single day because it helps me out. So if you like a little, engagement of me doing videos, like if you're an editor, if you just like storytelling, I'm a storyteller on a device this big, which was not around when I was growing up. Okay, so that's my strength, and I just stuck to it. And in business, same thing. Once you find something that works for you, just don't be good at it. Just kill it. Because that's the thing that's going to give you the green light or the ticket to the next level in life, which may be another opportunity in something. And that's the key, because the platform that I am in right now may result into a more prosperous opportunity to do something more. And that's the key, where how do these influencers become so big and they're on TV and they're making commercials? Well, they had to have something of value in the very beginning when they were super small, but everybody forgets the journey on how they got to the big top. And that's the thing in the middle, the minutia in between, where people just don't want to put the work and pain.
Yeah.
Right. That's why something like this, where people will be like, oh, what am I going to do? I'm suffering. And by all means, you know what? You have every right to feel that way. But the weird ones like me that see something like this, pain in your face, well, we see it half glass empty, half glass full. We see it differently. This is an opportunity.
So I want to go back, because like a couple days ago, we were talking about excitement. Everything to you is about excitement. That's why I think you kind of have this high energy, short attention span, but you were focused enough to build this. You're still able to connect with people even through the whole COVID crisis. Oh, we're still in it, and you're still doing it, and you're still making killer videos. So you're talking about the minutia, that when you're excited, even the minutia, there's a lot of pain about it. There's a lot of pain factors where you have to do it because it's a must. So you can keep building up that excitement for your own life so you can achieve those goals. So explain to us, how do you mix in the pain with the excitement to get you right back on target, to know that this is what you're supposed to be doing? Because like for right now, what I'm seeing is that you said the minutia and you still kept on going. How were you able to keep yourself excited even through the minutia?
It's a mindset. Understand life is not fair at all, and it will never be. You know, it's a mindset. It's whether you embrace the challenge of life or embrace the challenge of building a business. It's like, you know, you play video games, right? Well, fuck, you're going to keep going until you get to the end, right?
Even though you're losing against the boss, dying over and over again.
Every game has levels, right?
Yeah.
It starts easy.
Yeah.
You get help. But in the middle, you got competition. I had retailers that supplement businesses, you know, going against me. This is before online. That's the big boss man, right? But in the between, I had me being amateur. I didn't have the knowledge. Okay. And this is another. So one thing you have to always understand, every single day is an opportunity to grow, meaning like education and knowledge. You're going to die if you don't continue to grow. Okay. So that's automatic. Most people understand that. It's like, you need to get your certification, learn this. Oh, okay. But people quit after they get the cert. They stop learning. So learn something that's going to be involved in your business. Me, okay, I learned about nutrition. I went to school, got my degree in it, dietetics, nutrition. Well, if I knew that media was going to control the world, well, that always resonates in my head. Well, Jay, you got to get yourself on TV or somehow. You got to do something that nobody else is doing. And I was fine with it. I kid you not, I could not even look at a freaking camera without being nervous as hell, and I had to do it 100 times. I didn't even want to do it. But the fact that this is a one-shot opportunity to either sink or swim, make it, you have to come out of your comfort zone. And you have to force yourself. What you were grown and born and influenced, what you were taught, okay, that's the old you. We're not messing around. This is real life. This is a business. You got to reinvent your ass. So in a way, all right, let's reverse engineering thing. Let's start clean. Jason, who do you want to be? So write it all out. Boom, boom, boom. This is my code of ethics. And that's your staple, it's your constitution. You want to become the best at, you want to be this. And in 5 years, you're still this, right? That's my constitution. So when it comes to energy, the feeling of happiness, I have to actually look the part. I mean, this is all part of my business because 9 times out of 10, when somebody walks through my door, they're in need of something. They're either tired, so there's my energy. I hate to say I'm not trying to boast or anything, but in this industry, it's a very self-egotistical. So I have to look the part. I'm the billboard. You know, the billboard speaks louder than words, right?
First impressions.
First impressions, right? We'll talk about. Oh man, you're gonna open a can of worms on the one. But the thing is, this is the ideology of a business. You have to directly affect. Starts with you as the owner. Who people are gonna see you as visual. How are they gonna hear you as? Meaning, like, are you educated? Do you know the craft of your industry? Are you present? Okay, so boom, smell. We can let that go unless you're in the food business. Touch, right? That's another auditory, but not touch like I want to shake your hand, but that also helps. Like I used to do handshakes.
Well, that boosts up serotonin, the feeling of togetherness.
Yeah, the word. I was that old school. My word is bond. Bam, bam, bam. We don't need a signature. That was it. Still applies for a lot of the demographics older, me. But the feeling of, did I touch? Did I give you a great experience? I mean, did I touch your soul? I mean, was I there to care enough to listen to you speak about what your goals are? Was I present? Were you just, wow, this guy remembers my name, or this guy remembers the dialogue that I had, and he sees, I don't know, 20, 30. But the fact that I'm present, the world stops. When you're here, it's just you and I. That's a good feeling.
Yeah, that one-on-one feeling. Like,
you don't understand
building that relationship, the bond.
Because I get it. We're all like in this world of, multitasking, fast-paced, work your ass off. I get it. Don't get me wrong. But the moment I can slow time down and be just one-on-one with you, and we can stop time to where holy crap, I've been here for 2 hours. Best gift ever you can give to somebody is when you can stop, listen, empathy, sympathy. I feel you. I'm going to help you. I mean, I want to say I am better than a doctor.
So for other people to survive, other businesses, other small business, people that do affiliate marketing, whatever.
It starts with the soul.
So what happens is, it's not Sam Mateo Sports Nutrition, because I see Sam Mateo Sports and Nutrition. But when I think of it, I think of you guys.
I feel where you're going. Exactly.
When I go on that IG story, I don't see Sam Mateo. I know it's Jason Mayol. The live raffle shows, it's Jason Mayol. When I come in here, I come here to talk to you, and I come here to talk to Tree.
That's 2020 moving forward. That's branding. That's business now today. People don't go see the name on your storefront, the big box stores. People go see the person behind the counter.
So like and subscribe on YouTube. Booty in your face.
We found true happiness